There we go. Just make sure I got my volume. There we go. Okay, I can hear. All right, let's just go ahead and hop right into things. By watching or reading this, you're saying you understand the following. I am not a financial advisor, and this is not trading advice. This session is solely for educational purposes. There are significant financial risks associated with options trading, and I'm not liable for your wins or losses in the market if you decide to act on this information. All right. Okay, so we just hopping right into order flow for Friday. And so, Friday, we had a lot of order flow going into Apple. Apple, the new iPhone came out Friday. And I'm going to tell you the thing, the most significant thing about this, and it made a big move on Friday too. But one of the most significant things about it is the fact that this is the first time in a long time that Apple actually made changes to the hardware. So that's a big deal. They had people lined up um, outside the door in New York to buy that new phone, right? So that's a big deal. It's a big deal for Apple. And I do think that there's some more room left, but we'll talk about Apple when we get to that. Now, Oklo was another stock that ran last week. The US made that nuclear deal with the UK, and that's why CCJ was moving as well. So on stream on Friday, I believe it was Friday. Yeah, Alex hopped on the stream on Friday and told me to look at Oklo, and it was running. It was a nice run on that. So let's making some notes here. Real time notes. Real time. Cool, cool, cool. Give me a sec. Just a sec. All right, there we go. It's a lot better. Cool. Okay, moving on, moving on, moving on. And for the week, I'm sorry, yeah. So we had it was Apple, Oklo, Baidu, Palantir, Google had the top call options flow on Friday, and on the put side, it was Tesla, CrowdStrike, Amazon, RGTI, JD. Okay, all right. And for the week, CoreWeave, Apple, MU, AMD, Palantir. On the put side, we had Tesla, Target, Lulu, UNH, RGTI. Just make a note. Now, we'll get into it. But another thing, this upcoming week we have we're gonna have hold on one sec. Let me just make a note first before I move on. Because everything that I need to cover, I am already trying to keep it where it in its proper place before I move on. Yeah, and like I said, on the put side, we had they threw there's a lot of shorting going on Tesla. Interesting. Okay, cool. Just making notes. All right, let's just talk market talk, man. And I didn't update this slide from the last meeting that we had. So, yeah, market talk, man. Let's just talk. Let's have a little this is not going to be long because I want to get into charts. But just when you're trading options, man, there are going to be times where there are going to be losses. There are going to be times where you're going to just have like really great weeks and it's going to be melt ups or meltdowns and the market there will be some of them weeks where it's either so a certain stock or just the market in general is so bullish or bearish that even a caveman could have made money. You know what I mean? And during those weeks, a lot of times we take full credit for what the market did. You know what I mean? When anyone could have jumped in, or people, or it'll be so bullish, or trade will be so good that no matter when you decided to jump in that trade, like, I know I shouldn't jump in at no man's land, or I shouldn't jump in at, when it's closer to resistance if I'm buying calls, or you know what I'm saying? Or like when I call it no man's land, that means the middle between support and resistance. And just like, oh damn, I don't know where it is. I don't know what's going on, but I just see that this trade is up. It's up. It says this trade is up north of 50% and I don't want to miss out on it. So I'm gonna jump in this trade, right? Sometimes you could do that and you can make money and that'll be fine. But then there are other times where, um, one sec, sorry guys. Can somebody let Daquan know that the meeting is on Zoom and not in the chat? Because I can't if I can't type it because I want to stop what I'm doing. But But yeah, so those there are times where you can jump in a trade at any time and be like, okay, I know he said this, or I know the rules say I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna jump in anyway. And a lot of times you get away with that because, you know, especially, when you look at the overall month and what we're averaging a month, right? And a week sometimes. So it's easy to jump in any trade at times and be like, okay, cool, I got away with it. And then you laugh, I got away with it. But it be those times where the rules really matter, that if you're just, your muscle memory is not to follow the rules, then you end up in a situation. And so I'm just here to just talk about just why it's important to stick to the plan and and be ready for whatever happens. So just like, for example, on Friday, we were on stream for a while Friday morning, and I covered a lot because we had a lot going on. So, and I guess I got a whole philosophy. I'm like, let me make sure I'm gonna give as much information as I can so that way the team is good. But if you don't understand something, just ask a question in that time, like, or paraphrase what, the part that you need more info on, the part you want me to add more color to, just let me know in that time. And so I can, while I'm there I like to designate time for specific things. I'm like, I know we're about to go shoot the general, so I'm not going to have time to teach you how to load the magazine once we're on the battlefield. So right now, while we're in the this war room or whatever, let's cover everything. And I'm like, okay, you got this, and everybody got it. But then when we run into those situations where it's like, okay, everybody know the drill now, then nobody knows the drill. So and that can be a little frustrating, but it's not about the feeling. It's about, like I said, to me, it's more about whether the team wins or loses. Like for example, last Friday, not this Friday, but the Friday before, we played Adobe the day, Adobe the morning after earnings. And we didn't have a meeting last week. Hold on one second. Dry. Better. Yeah, so we played Adobe the the day after earnings and for puts. And and I got a plan, like, and it's a thing. It's about sticking to whatever plan that you have in place. So yeah, my thought process was this is just a trade for today. Yeah, we had a week out on it because we weren't going to place zero data expiry on that trade, and sometimes it takes a little longer to unpack the price action for it to break out of those ranges and do what it need to do. Sometimes that doesn't happen until the end of the day after they clap the zero data expiry. So that was the plan. You know, it didn't work out that way. So, but like I said on last Friday, my plan, like I only play Adobe the day after earnings if I do play it. It's not a trade, something that I trade typically, but I'll trade it the day after earnings, and that's all it was. So we got it. So I'm bringing this up for two reasons. So we ended up like, and I posted it in the chat, but I'm just saying this because we gotta as a team, but me also just like try to stick to my own plan regardless of the situation, and that's cool. But and so on last Friday, the plan was to not to swing Adobe because that wasn't the plan initially. It wasn't the plan at all. And I know how Adobe moves after earnings. It chops around after earnings. It's always done that. So I'm like, well, that's what it's likely to do anyway. So I wasn't planning on swinging it, and so ended up swinging it. I'm like, okay, well, we go. But since it was down, I was like, okay. And then the setup on it, see, I'm a setup guy. So it's like the setup was still bearish on the chart. So I'm like, okay, cool. We can go ahead and I'm gonna swing this into Monday. Well, I just, ended up swinging. I'm like, I'm gonna sell it on Monday. And so, yeah. But yeah, Monday came around and it dropped some more. The premiums dropped more on it, but then we absorbed most of that back. Well, half, like more than 50% of it was back. So that was an opportunity to exit out of that trade. So this is the thing. So Monday, I wasn't active Monday because I know I'm off on Mondays, but that wasn't the reason. Because if we're in a swing trade, we're in a swing trade. But I had multiple one-on-one coaching sessions. So I missed that window too. So it's not like, well, the team at I'm saying that you guys missed the window, but I'm saying I missed the window myself to get out of there. So that was just one of those trades where, we just gotta, if there's a plan or whatever, whether I'm around or not, we got to stick to whatever plan that is, or at least inquire about what that plan is, because then there are other people who, in the chat, other members, mods or whatever, who know what the original plan was and will assist and be of help in situations like that. Because, like I always say, my favorite term is if I'm not paying attention, we all crash and burn. So, and I'm okay with that because, I mean, not okay with it, but I'm okay with being like, I know I'm the responsible one. And if I got that mindset, that means I got to be on point with it at all times too. So, yeah, and so I'm bringing this whole thing is all go together. So it's not just I'm not just rambling on. I'm putting this all together. I'm framing this for a reason. So you know, so that trade, okay. So went into I said what was the next one? Yeah, so we got into CCJ. So I alerted the CCJ trade, I believe, yeah, Monday heading into the close because of the news that came out with the nuclear deals and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. And the stock was breaking through all-time highs. You know how I feel about all-time highs, but it was the momentum. Everything about it was, I'm gonna follow what I feel we should do. So grab those contracts, those 87 calls for with the extra with 14 days on them, 13 days on them, 2 weeks, and after I alerted that trade, I saw right after the market closed, though that was it was in the money. Next morning, market open, we on stream together, and it was a little profitable. It didn't move too much, so I had the team to chill and wait on that trade because I'm like, let's just let this one cook a little bit, and I'll let y'all know, what we're going to do if we're going to hold it or not. If after because I did because there's a lot of people who don't really check in on the streams and stuff like that. So I put an update in the chat with a tight stop. So for those who don't lock in or don't really read or keep up with everything, I put a tight stop on that trade for them. But for those who are on the stream or who read the chat actively, I'll let y'all know. Cool, we're going to let this one cook a little while, and I'll give y'all an update if we decide to sell. It started to come down. It started to come down, but me, is market structure over everything, and we had time. The news was bullish on it. It was the catalyst was solid. I'm like, we're going to do this. And if there was a time, now listen, we got to be careful, but I want y'all to really pay attention because it's not. It's the thing is this. This is the thing. We can trade because like I said, I know it works. It's just like there are going to be times where trades are scary and things and market and the stocks pull back and stuff like that, but those are the times. And let me just go to this chart for a second. Just going to bring up a chart. I like to talk with charts on the screen. You feel me? Let me bring up a chart for a second because it's just there are times where you have to, and again, I haven't brought it up yet, so just I'm gonna bring it up. Just give me one sec. There are times where you have to just trust your gut and not just your that was the wrong term to use. I didn't mean that. Not trust your gut. Trust your levels and follow the price action. And that's important. Can you guys see this chart? Does anybody see the chart? Just to make sure, because I dragged it instead of switching
Nah,
screens.
we don't
No,
see
it's
the
not
chart.
popping up.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. All right, cool. Let me just switch it over another way. Thanks for letting me know. If somebody's talking in the chat portion of the meeting, I can't see that. I can't bring that up during the call, so I don't see the comment, whatever it is. Just letting you know I ain't ignoring you. I just don't see the comments. I normally turn that off so nobody comment in there because I don't see it. But but yeah. So let's just damn. I'm gonna find it. But yeah. So just it's about structure, market structure over everything. And when I initially alerted the trade on Monday, I posted this chart with the trade. I mean, well, I posted this chart after, right after the close, because I posted this. I gave the trade out heading into the close, right? So as a swing. So of course, it's at all time highs and everything is. But this is the thing. Let's everything. Let me go up, zoom out to the week, because again, it was Monday, so the week had just started too, and that's how it finished on the week. Hmm, Interesting finish. Nice finish there. So the this was the weekly before, right? So this is the big candle that just closed on this past week. But remember, every time it's been up at this level here, it's gotten rejected, right? So now we were breaking through, and again, we've broken through before, and you see how it fizzled out. But we had this bullish news, and we were breaking through this weekly level again, this weekly resistance. So yeah, and it was at a point where it has sustained. I mean, it was at new all-time high. I took out every single level, so it was moving. Let me get this out of here. Yeah, I'll do it on the other shit. I'll get it on the other one. But yeah, so that's where I was looking at the weekly. The week had just started, so I was out there. So when we're doing a swing trade, time frame, time the time frame you're looking at for a swing trade is everything. I'm not looking at a 5 minute chart. I'm not looking at a session hourly chart. I'm looking at a daily or probably a weekly, depending on where we are, and probably even further depending on how long I'm planning on holding the trade. As per the trading Bible. But yeah, so I alerted the trade at all time highs, and it's hard to do that. Now, listen, so for the people who like I said, who don't lock in with us too much, I put a tight stop on this trade, for them to cut that trade, you know, um, on a small pullback, and so yeah, they could have done that. Now, listen, this is the thing. So this stock came all the way down here the next day, and we could have gotten out of it in profit, but I'm like, no, we're gonna let this cook a little bit. It came down here, it finished at this level here on the day, bounced off the 9 EMA like it's been doing. And but I got this level here. It's just that this level is, it's an imaginary level, but we're gonna give it some margin, like, we give you these levels margin. And so it finished right here at this level. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna see how the next day look, because if you look here, this is the thing. Here's another thing that's important too. So it finished inside. This is an inside candle. So then the next day, here's a confirmation that it held the level with, it finishing as a hammer. Another inside, double inside day on this. So then we got the that 112 reversal here on here. So we started. It was making progress, making some nice progress, and the stock was just a moving. So we're holding the trade, and then here it goes. It explodes out on Friday, takes out the all time high. And then this is the thing. This is very key right here. So again, we finally got the candle confirmation over this weekly level. So it's setting up nicely, setting up for those calls to go in the money. So yeah, and we we that's the thing. But the thing is though, you gotta, some trades, every trade is not gonna be, it's like everybody wanna go on a mission until like there's something, until something goes wrong. Everybody wanna go on the mission when things are good. But there are times where what you learn, you don't raise to the occasion. You raise to your level of preparation. You know what I'm saying? So you rise to that level, and so I prepare y'all for a lot of this stuff. And then sometimes I'll sit back and I won't. So like I'm gonna tell y'all, some people may, and I'm glad that I'm talking about this. So there are times where, like on a Thursday, like it was, let's be clear about a lot of things, right? I I play tennis on Mondays, but a lot of times, like regular days of the week, unless I have an appointment or something, or I'm coaching or something, I'm standing at my stand-up desk looking at charts. And if I have the team in a trade, you better believe that I'm watching it like a hawk. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times I let y'all sweat because we just talked about it on stream and nobody had questions, or I just posted a chart. I'm waiting for I want to see the team, make sure that the team is actually retaining the information, locking in. Of course, if it's something that we need to cut and stuff like that, then I'm gonna let you know. But they're also like, or if I'm gonna leave, or I'll give you some stop loss levels and just let you know where to put your stop and whatever. But we yeah, so we streamed. I probably streamed like 6 hours, 6 or 7 hours this week, something like that, in total. But the thing is, and it was a lot to cover. It was a lot to cover. I like when there's something to teach. But I'm saying that if I cover everything, I know I'm thoroughly covering everything, and the team doesn't have any questions. That's a fair thing. It's fair. It's fair that they don't have questions because I over cover. You know what I mean? I try to over deliver on the coverage. So I'm like, so it's possible that they don't have any questions. So I'm like, okay, I don't look at that as a bad thing anymore. Like maybe they really don't have any questions. But then when, when there's an issue, then you start to see, like I said, like Warren Buffett said, only when the tide goes in do you know who's been swimming naked. So, but I'm gonna tell y'all, this is why, another reason why trades like this are important, because what it does is it helps with your psychology, your trading psychology. And if and I say this all the time, 90% of trading is psychology, it's psychological. So imagine being in something where you had to trust the levels and you did it and then you were triumphant. You know, that trade was down like 50% at a time. I mean, I know it was. So, and it came all the way back, came roaring back. You know what I'm saying? But the structure never broke. It stayed true to its levels, and we had time, so we had leverage. So it was everything worked out in our favor, but we stayed true to the levels. We trusted the process on it. You know, so that's just what it's about, and that's just something that I wanted to make sure that I cover with y'all today. And so we cover in this chart now. So I might as well go ahead and I'm gonna cover it anyhow, but I'm gonna cover it while I have it up. But yeah, so it's looking so right now over that 86, 84, that 87.51 is the first target. And then we got this uptrend channel, but this is we're at all-time highs. So we gonna see how this plays out. And but that's the target, the 87.51. That's all I was looking for the trade. Then obviously over there we got the 91.30 and so on. Now, if we lose that 82.40, then we'll retest 82.11, and it's been bouncing off the 90 and made pretty good though. And so then we got that, so that 81.70, but I was just we got the 81.13, and then there's a key level right there again that I have. So, we're just the stock can do what it does. I mean, I like the bullish. It has a catalyst, it has a bullish setup, and that weekly is at new all-time highs. And remember what I tell y'all, like we look at the daily, smart money for the most part, they're looking at higher time frames because a lot of times they're holding longer and they're seeing other things, right? So when you get a weekly breakout, like that's irritating me. I gotta get it off of there. Hold on. When you have a weekly setup like that, and yeah, when you have yeah, a weekly setup, like wrong one. It's so good. There it is. It's cool. I just man. It's cool, it's cool, it's cool. That's what I did. Let's see. And above. There. Just delete this off of here. Because that's probably on a very low time frame. And I probably, yeah, but it's all good. But yeah, so, when you have a weekly breakout like this, smart money's watching this and they're, because think about it. They were fighting, the Bears were defending the hell out of that level, and there was enough bulls to come through and break through there. They bulldozed through that level and sustained most of the gains, closed, with not much of a wick at all. So it was a really good setup. Everything is in confluence on the trade. So the volume, momentum, and the price action, everything looks great. So yeah, here we go. But yeah, that's something to be triumphant about, in my opinion. So I wanted to make sure that I covered that. And then so then hold on, let's hit meta. Let's hit meta. I mean, do we got time to hit meta? I mean, as far as like and during market talk to break this down, do we got time to go into that?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
I
Let's go
feel
in.
that's important.
Yeah, okay. It's my parlay is parlaying right now. It's like, no, I'm just kidding. This is way more important than a parlay. Uh yeah, so y'all can talk about meta all day long, you know that. So yeah, let's discuss Meta. Let's just discuss Meta. This is important. So Meta, there, I think this is a good one though. I'm gonna breeze through it. Though. I'm gonna breeze through it. I'm gonna breeze through this one. So we had a plan on well, I swung Meta calls Friday, I mean last Friday into Monday, sold them. I had to sell them. I had coaching going on, and so and I grabbed again, before the close, I jumped into new meta calls and it's the what was it? Yeah. And then I put what day did I put the team in them? I think it was Tuesday or something like that. I don't know. So
It
I
was
think
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah, Tuesday in the close. Okay, I was like, okay, because I sold the one. Yeah, so I was buying and selling Metacalls like most of the week, and so then I said, you know, I'm gonna put the team in. So yeah, so let's break this down because we talked about this on stream, but I like stuff like this because it gives me kind of give me Greeks and I can talk about Greeks a little more. But yeah, so Meta they had a Meta Connect event on Wednesday, and we had FOMC on Wednesday as well. So the thing, so yeah, so the uh, the plan was to use the momentum heading into the Meta Connect event and sell those Meta calls before the Meta Connect event. That was the plan, you know. And so yeah, here's Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, so that was the plan for us to do that. And so what ended up happening, of course, it didn't play out that way. Didn't play out that way. So yeah, Wednesday, so yeah, so and just to kind of get like let me go a little further with this. So the we had Meta had closed at 781. Oh, so it closed over 780 on I'm sorry, it closed, yeah, it closed at 779. So my bad. It closed at 779 on Tuesday. And so, and what I did was I put the team in I was gonna put the team in the 800s, but I didn't get y'all into that trade at the time. I wasn't gonna put y'all into meta in the middle of the day. I was gonna wait till the end of the day and buy it in those 800s. The price of those were inflated, so I said, okay, the 810s were fine, and they weren't for that week. They were for a week out, and they were fine because it had a 30 delta on them, and the price of all of the options were super inflated because we had the Meta Connect event coming up. So that's very important. Otherwise, it wouldn't. So we were going to use the extrinsic value to make up for the to make up for the fact that we went a little further out of the money on the trade, but the delta still lined up properly. So that was cool. So just to kind of give context on that. Yeah. So anyway, you see what happened on Tuesday. So Meta opened higher than the previous close and it ran that morning. And then, excuse me, it went right up and rejected my level, my 780 level, and came crushing we almost hit the 780 what's up, what did I have? Yeah, so it didn't quite hit that level. It came up here, it rejected this level, the 783 96, which is essentially 784. Went up there, rejected that level, and came down, bounced off of another key level that I have and finished with a hammer. Okay, cool. So we still, but yeah, so but the yeah, so this is hold on, this Wednesday. So we were planning not to swing meta on that day. We were planning not to swing meta that day, but I came in and well, actually I didn't. I was out and about on Wednesday, but so a few of my members reached out to me and was like, "Are we still getting out of meta?" And I'm like, "Nah, we gonna swing meta because the we made the decision to swing meta. They moved because the Connect event, I thought it was going to be during the Fed decision. It was going to come out and we would get the information around like during the presser or whatever. And but it ended up not starting until after the close. I mean, I thought that was more strategic what Zuck did this time in terms of putting the div. I'm like, okay, cool. So and we already knew what he was some of the things he was planning to debut. I'm like, okay, cool. I think we'll be fine because at least this was my thought process on it. I'm like, okay, if if the event is good, Meta should gap up the next day, make a nice move, and we should be able to absorb the the IV from the IV crush, because I'm gonna call it crush, the IV crush from the Connect event being over. So it wouldn't be crushed then, be if we move enough to absorb it. But yeah, so the Connect event was part of the reason why the prices. Well, there was main reason why the prices were inflated, but then also FOMC. We got it. We had a double event. We had the Connect event and we had FOMC. All of that was inflating the prices of the stocks. So I didn't even consider that part either, right? But the thing was, so the next day, obviously FOMC is over and the Connect event is over. So although Meta did gap up and it ran like a bat out of hell, took out the levels, it jumped up and ran all the way up to 788, 70, 788, almost 789. And our contracts were profitable. They were up like between 50 and $70 in profit. But like you're thinking like, damn, like why aren't they moving like that? And the main and so they ripped the IV and Vega from those contracts. So because the event already happened. So we opened down off the break. So that's why I put a note in the chat that morning to the team, like, chill, we good. I explained, what was going on with the Vega exposure and the IV, and that just eventually the price will absorb it. I told y'all that at market open, the price did absorb it. Those contracts, went in profit, whatever. That's that, right? So, and Meta was still like it still was giving the vibe where it was going to 800. So here's the next thing now. So let's jump into Friday. Because again, we still got time on it. We still got time and we got leverage and some Meta's making higher highs. So what it do? This is where it closed at on Thursday. It closed at above 780 on Thursday. It gapped up to 786 at the open and ran all the way up to 790.80, which was my original target for us for Meta was up to 790. That was it. That was the Connect event target, meaning like if things played out with, like the way I was expecting it to play out, that was the original target. But Meta was looking like it want to go to 780. I mean, go to 800, right? So yeah. So anyway, Friday, this is what happens Friday. So we on stream Friday morning, and then I'm talking to the team. We were just watching the price action on Meta. I'm like, yo, something's weird about this. It's just something strange because I'm a Meta guy, play Meta a lot. I'm like, something strange about this price action. Why are they like? I just didn't get it. So I looked at the calendar. I'm like, damn, it's quad witching, and you know how we got a history with Meta and quad witching, Meta making moves and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, we got quad witching. So the market is probably going to chop around. Price is going to chop around all day long, or we're going to get some moves until we probably going to get some big moves later on. But or maybe, even through the day. But I knew that Meta we were gonna get some crazy price action on Meta because it was quad witching. But that's just what was to be expected at that point. Now, had I known or been on point, which and always normally we on point with quad witching. I don't know how that slipped, but I guess it was just a lot going on. And so, like I said, you can search the chat. We got a history of Meta and quad witching, so that's something we typically be on point about around here. And but if I knew quad witching was Friday, we would have closed out of those Meta contracts Thursday, and I would have put y'all in something different on the pullback or something like that. Didn't do that. And so we had like I told y'all, I said we're gonna hold these Meta calls anyway, although price was starting to come down a little bit while we were on stream that morning. I'm like, okay. So then Cliff asked the question about where's the line in the sand, for Meta if things were to break down or whatever. And I told him like that 775, that 775 level that's we'll give it some room. That's where I feel like, if it comes down there, it should be as far as it closing, you know what I'm saying? Like it could come down if it comes down because of course we're looking at the daily chart. We're talking about the daily. And I'm like, yeah, that's a level right there where because where that'll be a line in the sand level. And obviously heading into the close, you kind of get an idea of where price could close, but you also got to be careful because there sometimes, I look at it like the whole in the last nothing is final until that candle close. You know what I'm saying? Like I lost a lot of bets last night because those college games are volatile. You know what I'm saying? Like last minute moves. So like at the market, you think a candle gonna close one way, and then at the last moment they drag the price down. Right? Like it's just like it be sinister sometimes. Like right before the close. But I feel like if you're bullish or bearish, it's like okay, we're gonna do this. we're gonna do it to the point where we're not gonna give them no time to recover. So they do it, it's just like um that's what that's what the Bills did to us week one. They ran that clock down to 1 second and kicked that field goal. They said we're not giving Lamar Jackson no time to do nothing. So those candles, they do that sometimes. But anyhow, yeah. So we got so even if that's why I'm always apprehensive heading into the close. But anyhow, like I said, but my what I would love ideally is for Meta to close over, to get back up over I wanted it over 775, but then we had a 778 level that would have been even better, So we had both of those levels lined up. But yeah, so anyway, what ended up happening, Meta ended up coming down on, and I just have to give y'all a little back to let y'all, because a lot of people weren't on the call, so know what we were talking about. Yeah, so I gave y'all that information. So Meta started after we got off the stream, you know, um, Meta was moving a little crazy. And check this out. So I I jumped into Meta puts like almost immediately, but I was waiting before I put the team in anything because, we like and the only reason, because remember, I was like, we had two trades that the structures were intact, but they weren't in profit. So I'm very apprehensive about adding more trades when we in two trades. We gotta, you gotta be responsible. And we in two trades, structures were intact, but they weren't in profit. And CCJ was in a worse condition, but it was in a worse condition than at the time. So what I ended up doing, once CCJ started to to do what it needed to do on Friday, I'm like, okay, cool, CCJ looking good, and I'm like, okay, Meta is coming down, but Meta makes big moves, and then I saw the Trump tweet, the Trump tweet about he just got off the phone with President Xi, and they had a great conversation about tariffs, and thanks for being able to come through and make the deal, the TikTok deal. He said they made a deal on TikTok. That's what he said. So Meta started to drop, even so I'm like, that was so but I was already in the put. So but then I alerted the team. I put the team in meta puts also, and I'm gonna tell you what the reason I did that, because we had calls, and like I said, we've done this before. We've done this times before where we were expecting it. We expecting a move to happen later for Meta, and like I told y'all on stream, I said, Meta has a history of making huge moves heading into the close on quad witching. So I'm like, okay, we're going to absorb the cost on this, and we're going to take advantage of these puts real quick. So I put the team in meta puts, and let me go down to the session hourly for a second. I put the team in meta puts, and so I'm like, okay, I guess the puts, they weren't very expensive, and it was 0 day to expiry. I typically don't do that, but we'll do that for meta sometimes. And so we sorry, my mouth is dry as hell today. So I put the team in those the 775 puts. They were like $185. And I'm like, okay, cool. So they were printing, but I said, if Meta loses, if it drops below this 775, those puts going to flush. You know what I'm saying? And so when it lost that level, it just started flushing. It was flushing metals, and those puts went up like over almost like 200, almost 250%. So turned them into like 600 and something dollars really quickly. So I'm like, okay, that absorbed the cost of the meta calls for the people who are struggling in those calls or whatever, because we're not cutting Meta. We're holding those calls because Meta is going to make its move. It has a goal, and it's going there, and we knew, and it's all about the structural too. So now here's power hour. So before power hour, Meta started to make a reversal. We got that nice 2 1 2 2. Is that a three or a two? Is that a three or two? That's a two. So that's a it was a 2 1 2 reversal, and ran up here. We reclaimed the 775, which was great, and then Meta took off. came back, pulled down, and then took off hitting into the close. So if you zoom out here again, you can see how Meta just broke out and just and took off heading into the close. That's Meta on quad witching. So nice move. Now we do got a bearish engulfing here on the daily. So let's just talk about this for a second here for Meta. So we got a bearish engulf, and so before the close, those Meta calls they were starting to come back nicely for real, and well they were coming back and but we finished with a bearish engulfing. A what is that? A 223 bearish engulfing on here on the daily. So a bearish engulfing is just excuse me one level, one one indicator. You know what I'm saying? So it's one indicator here, but we were making higher highs the whole week. I like the fact that Meta got dragged all the way down here, and bulls were able to fight back and pull it back up here above key levels that I needed it to close above. So I feel good about that. And then when you zoom out to the week, it's like it's a lot of noise going on. But then you look at the weekly, and
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of noise going on, but then you turn around, look at the week, and look how great the structure was protected and how everything stayed intact. Nice chart. Everything looks good on there. All of the noise for quad witching, everything was fine. So but then also the thing is, this is what I've so then they started to unpack the whole TikTok thing a little more. And you're like, well, Trump says they made a deal. Now the thing is, they just did another extension until November. Another extension till November. There now, of course, there are talks of they got some six of the seven investors that are going to own the Twitter or whatever. I'm sorry, Twitter, TikTok are from the US, right? And so remember the issue was China was not going to give up their algorithm. And the algorithm it extracts a whole lot of information from the US and over to China, which is a national security issue. So that's the reason why we're going to ban TikTok if we don't get it. So they came up with another extension, but the thing is, you think China is giving up gonna give up their that let that algorithm go, or are they gonna rebuild? Are they gonna generate a different version of the algorithm and give it to the U.S.? What's up with that? Like, what are they gonna do? Are the U.S. gonna allow China to still export information? Because the reason why it was being banned is because it was a national security issue. So you think they're gonna allow the algorithm to keep running? Like, what does China get out of it if the U.S. If the U.S. has to own the company and it can't be anything going back to China, because what the U.S. believes is they're taking our data, our young people data, and they're using it and they're doing these things with it or whatever. They won't give the algorithm out because if the U.S. gets hold of the algorithm, Mark Zuckerberg, he just gonna copy it and we think that IG already figured out some things, but I'm saying for the most part, I don't think that the algorithm works like TikTok's. That's what I'm saying. So, but yeah, so all of these things it's this is the thing. So I'm like, okay, so if they got another extension until November, then they didn't come up with a deal. You know what I mean? There was no deal on TikTok yet. So yeah, so that was just, Meta dropped because of that. Meta started selling off like rapidly because of that, right? And then yeah. So Trump says things. Trump feel like he once he talked to you is over. Like when he had the conversation with Putin, and he thought how that conversation went and how he had his word on different things, and now he's disappointed in him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can't really. Those conversations are a grain of salt, and then you feel like you made a deal, but we're still basically where we were before, probably a little further. So yeah. So I mean, like I feel like that, and then it was on on Friday, I believe, Joey posted an article about Oracle in talks with Meta on a 20 billion AI cloud computing deal, and then she posted another one from Bloomberg talking about solidifying the same thing and all this came out after the close, right? So yeah, so we got some bullish news for Meta, but without all of that, look at the structure. That's all I'm saying. Like, look at the structure.
Exactly. Without all of that.
Yeah.
That right there.
That's the structure, market structure over everything. You know how we go around here. And again, it's just about being able to do that and hold it down when things don't look good sometimes. Being able to still, come in there and hold it down and be able to get to, just to have that trust. But like I said, you can't have that trust if you don't know what's going on or you don't understand what's going on. So I get it at times, but that's why, we have these things in place. And Meta is it's it's bound to make a nothing is guaranteed as far as what'll happen in the overall market. We got a lot of Fed speakers. We'll get to that in a second, right? But we Meta it makes on average a $16 move. The APR for I mean, the ATR for Meta is $16 a day, right? So we get the $16 a day on Meta, and the IV is cool right now. So I like that close. I like that close, and let's just get a nice continuation. See where things go from here. But yeah, we'll see how things how the market sets up heading into this upcoming week. But yeah, but this was a situation where but I will say this because we are in market talk though. Questions, fam. It was just like, man, I'm like, man, we in it. No, I'm like, damn. I was on. I'm like, damn, we ain't got no questions about none of these trades that we got going on. None at all. So I knew the team were good if they didn't have any questions, right? So, but last thing I'm gonna hit on this before I move on, and the reason I wanted to cover Meta, do everything in totality. One of the main things that I talk about in the Trading Bible, when I came up with that Trading Bible, it was I thought about some. I said, what's something that I could make for this team that since the inception of this community, that if it was like how like when they were writing the Bible or whatever, like the law, the Ten Commandments or whatever, right? They thinking about things that will protect you and make sure you get into the kingdom if you follow these laws or rules, and they also protect you too, right? So I'm thinking of something like that when I was coming up with the Trading Bible. It's just something that's simple things, and I'm like, what are the most important things? And I kind of agonized over it for a while. And so when I came up with it, it was really just made for the community, just things that will protect you. I'm like, if you follow these rules, you'll be fine and you'll be good. And one of the main things that I talk about in there, or one of the things is never trade with more than 20% of your total available cash to trade per single trade, because if you die, and we will at times, you have 4 lives left. And like, it just all I need is 2 shots. All I need is 2 shots to get it together, get it right. And then I got another rule. If I take more than if more than two of my if I have 2 trades that back to back that don't work out, I'm taking a break and I'm coming back with fresh eyes. I'm not gonna trade. I'm gonna take a break, come back, fresh eyes. These things help you and they protect you, to keep you good and make sure that you're fine when things go wrong sometimes, because things are going to go wrong. So, I had a member tell me, and because they jumped into CCJ with us, but we were on the stream and I was talking to the team about the Trading Bible and about, like, if, yeah, this trade is down, but we got time on it and we're going to follow this process. We're going to trust these levels on this chart and we're going to be fine. And I'm like, but just don't sweat. I said, the only way you're sweating right now is if you used everything that's in your account, or you're not following the trading Bible, and you're trading with more than 20% of your total available cash to trade, right? So I had somebody DM me and say, well, first I got a notification that they had left the server with an active subscription. I always know what that means. Their account got blew up, right? So they DM'd me and they said something about, I haven't been following the rules, and and I haven't been trading with I've been trading with more than 20%. I'm a college student and I really can't afford the membership. I can't afford to pay 250 a month, and I'm like, so I knew that they had blew their account, right? And the thing was like and this is important right here. So they joined the community like June 28th. So let's just say July. Let's round it off to July 1st. Joined the community July 1st, and I'm like, damn, from the date that he joined the community to the date that he left, and net profits, I know I made this team over $10,000. I started doing the numbers. So I'm like, damn, so if he was just following my trades and following my rules, even on weeks where we have a bad week, like last week was a slow week, but it wasn't because what I could have done this. I could just be, if a trade is down, but the structure's intact. I can go ahead and blast out several other trades and run the numbers up really quickly. But I'm trying to teach the team discipline, and plus we had new people joining, people who I know for sure. And it's not my this people say, and I had members say it's not my responsibility, but I care. So they like, well, I'm like, if I know if I call out another trade, they're gonna take it regardless of what I say. So if you know you already leveraged 20% of your, or you already maxed out, you already in two trades, and I call out another trade, regardless, they jump in it. You know what I mean? Especially after a winning trade, they jump in it regardless. So I could have done that, but no, it wasn't about that. It was about managing the existing trades and being focused because what I had to do is, like I said, if I'm not paying attention, we all crash and burn. So I have to make sure, I know how to run this ship. You know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, the numbers don't lie. You can let one week fog up your whole what's the name, your whole vision because you're not following the process. And so just because everybody else may be cool, you're down. Like, let's think about it. I had we this week we were just off of we just had how much money we made a lot of money this I'm still the last week we made a lot of money the week before. And so, like this is a whole month. This is not just a one day thing. We got a month. And like I said, on average, this team is clearing over $6,000 every single month, in net profits buying one contract per trade alert. So if some people will follow the process and be like, damn, everything is working out so great. If I buy 3 or 5 contracts on this next trade, I can get rich. You know what I mean? Or I got rent coming up and I need to make this rent money. So I'm gonna take all of my money and I'm gonna put it in this next trade. And then that be a trade that you have to sit on for a while and let breathe. And they can't do it because they got too much money on the table. It's too much at stake for them. So those things are important. But when I think, like I said, but think about it, that person is a cautionary tale because they were, and again, like cool member and everything. So they you have to jump around. You have to really when I see these members jumping around and just like on days where I'm not trading, I'm watching them post contracts and I just shake my head sometimes. And again, there's nothing wrong with you don't have to wait for me to trade. You know what I mean? There's a lot of great traders in this community. But I'm saying if you have limited funds and your account ain't right and you join this community, you're like, damn, I can afford to pay this 250 if I'm gonna make um a certain amount of money a month. Like everybody should be able to afford the membership because all you got to do is if you like forget, like I said, net profits. So when I say net profits, I'm not cherry picking anything. We talking about once you subtract the wins from the losses, I mean subtract the losses from the wins, that's the net profit we're going for or we have on average, right? So there hasn't been a month in a long time where I've made this team less than $5,000 in net profit. So, like I said, even if you sit around and I know it's probably, you know what I mean, more, but I'm just saying, but the whole point is, even if you like give or take a little more, you making several $1,000s return on ROI on your 250 every month. But people, like I said, you lose sight of things and I get that. That's fine. But I'm just saying, just that let that be a cautionary tale. Like when you're running around this community and you're bending the rules, and then so he jumped out of that trade, CCJ, for a loss, and that thing came all the way back. You know what I'm saying? Like came roaring back, but the structure never broke. I kept posting updates on what was going on with it. letting everybody know. And then that's why like I was staying on the streams for extended amount of time because we had multiple trades in play. And stream is for an hour. I was on there for 3 hours, like 2 days last week. You know what I'm saying? And just to make sure I was there to answer any questions and to give you reassurance that everything was intact, everything was fine. So yeah, so just if you follow the process, if you know your account ain't right, like listen, you can be a good trader, but be realistic with yourself. If you're using Robinhood or whatever app you're using, look and see what your overall what your P&L looks like for the year. What does it look like for the year? What does it look like from, think about when you join this community and look in our P&L channel and look at your account and see what you're doing every month. If your record is not better than our team record, then humble yourself and follow the process. You know what I mean? If you can want to say, "Oh, see, that's why I don't take the trades because look what happened on that trade," or something like that. But like I said, you can let one trade, stop you. Like I said, even like I said, no offense. I mean, no disrespect to Adobe, but F Adobe. We had just came off of like a $4,000 Oracle trade, and then I called out a trade the next day for the rest of the team, and that trade went up to over 900 and something dollars. F Oracle. I mean, Adobe. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just saying when you think about it, but I think about it like this, and if you've been in the community that whole time, one trade shouldn't wipe you out. But I look at every trade individually because we have people that join every week. You know what I mean? We got new members that join every week, and so the the bar is set, they're at the bottom when they join. So I look at I'm keeping score. That's the point. I'm keeping the score. So I know when I'm like, okay, and I'm letting y'all know, okay, cool. Well, we should have gotten out this trade at this point. I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna let FOMC decide which way this go because I got two other trades. You know what I mean? Like and that's suicide mission to me at this point for when I'm on that mode and I'm like, okay, cool. So if you know that you are new. There are rules that have to be followed in this community. It's like I'm not no one's father. I just know how to trade and I made a living off of it and figured out a way to be strategic where I bought my freedom. So that's what, everybody's not trying to do that. Some people just want extra money and that's fine. You just want to be winning. Regardless of why you're here, you want to be winning, right? So one week should not it'd be like a 1 week where like we could have a great week, then 1 week should be wiping people out, So I'm like, that's something is wrong if 1 week is wiping you out. So yeah, follow the process. New members, if once a trade reaches 30% or when I say, like I said, I tell y'all when I say, let y'all know where the trade went and how much it gained for that profit for that, like for Meta puts up 240% for a $445 profit per option. Okay, cool. Okay, well, can I stay in this a little longer or, should I like take your profit? I'm gonna tell you to take your profit if can you see? Well, I mean, but if I'm like, no, if it lose such and such level, all I was waiting for on Friday was for a team member to ask a single question about that trade, so I could, just let the floodgates open, and everybody would have made a lot more money. But I felt like, it's all good. But we gotta just we are a team. We gotta. I like the contributions everybody's making, and the suggestions and stuff like that. I'm gonna cover all of the stocks that y'all gave me today. I mean, for suggestions. So we're to get into these charts and stuff, and the additional charts and stuff in a second. But yeah, I just want everybody else to be able to celebrate at the end of the month with us when we go over the monthly profits. I want everybody to be able to do that. And if you came here for a reason, don't let your ego or anything stop you, your ego or fear or anything, or don't allow what happened during the last trade to stop you from moving forward. Because think about it, even if you go back to Adobe on last Friday, when I said what I said, all of the caveats about why I don't swing or play Adobe, wasn't planning on swinging it or nothing. That was a good time to, you know, think about like, well, what should I do? Or don't wait until that the sky is falling to then want to take it. I'll say take charge or speak up about your money, because at the end of the day, it's your money and You have to, at the end of the day, it's still your money, and you gotta be able to speak up and just take and be strategic in the trades that you take and the ones you don't. But just because the last trade was a loss shouldn't mean that shouldn't dictate whether or not you take the next trade or not, because that's what happens a lot. That shouldn't be the reason why. Did anybody have any thoughts or questions at all?
Anybody? Okay, I was just gonna say Meta was the trade of the week anyway. Regardless, I mean, like you see, it was a lot of price action, a lot of volatility, but the levels just speak for themselves. Like, I'll just say for me, I made a lot of money off Meta, even within the movements after you gave us the trade, because I was still watching the levels. And even Drew, shout out Drew, he was like, "Oh, Meta's bouncing off that level, off of Antoine's level right there," and I grabbed calls immediately and made a quick,
That
what
was
is
here, this level
like,
here.
yeah, right there. He was like, "Oh, it's bouncing off that level." I said, "What?" Sniper's going to snipe. Like if Antoine
Uh-huh.
tell us this a level, that's where I'm going to grab up, because I know this is where it's going to happen, and it surely did bounce, and that was like a quick $500 right there. I sold them in the morning. I was still in the call. I'm still in that call. Then we grabbed the puts when he called the puts. Like, so I haven't really been out of profit at all, because I've just been continuously watching that trade. But like I said, when we came in Monday and people were like talking about other trade, I was like, man, when Antoine say Meta is setting up, that's it. Like we have to train ourselves. I feel like for me, my thing has always been, I'm not for doing a whole bunch. Like I'm gonna stick to one stock. I'm gonna follow a stock. I'm gonna continuously watch that and look for the breakouts and watch for the consolidation, so I'm ready for the move. Like I'm not gonna be trying to be in everything. Not saying that you can't take the trades that Antoine calls out, but like certain things, and y'all know how we talk about Meta. Like, and it's a reason why we talk about it, because it's made us a lot of money. And when those trades happen, those that's where you want to be. But that was really all I wanted to say. Like the levels is true and tried, and just stick to that and ask the, like he said, ask the questions, because when Drew said that, that's all I needed to hear, because I was actually away from the computer and it popped up on my phone and I said, "What?" And went right in. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's it. That's it." So it's not, you got to train yourself to not be worried about, oh, you know well, I don't know this. If you don't know that, then that's why you ask the question. Because everybody in there gonna tell you, we was talking about it. We were talking about things throughout the week. Plenty me, a lot of the other snipers and people that be trading all the time. Like we're willing to help. We want to help, but it got to be the questions that's gonna get the conversation going. But we're definitely all here for y'all.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. So that's just, and I see some commentary that come out and it'll be, and it get everything going. And the right question is definitely going to get me going. And, but yeah, but no, it was one of those weeks where, we really needed to just let the market talk and let it, we just trust those levels and just be able to really sit back and yeah, so those would be the big weeks. They'd be the defining weeks for you when you can actually do that and make money, or just be triumphant in a trade. So yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, but like I said, this is like I said, I use these meetings for to kind of see what type of, I'm like, okay, cool. The team, they did good, they understood. I use these kind of weeks to kind of see how how much time or how much hands-on time the team needs and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'm moving on to the charts now. I got all of the charts that I plan on covering
Are you
lined
coming
up.
back to meta levels, or is the level still the same? I can just use the ones we have
Yeah,
already.
yeah, I'm gonna come back to meta. I'm gonna hit meta.
Okay.
That's gonna be the first chart that I
All
hit.
right.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna just go ahead and hit it while I got it up, and then I can move on. I'll do that while I got it up for meta. Do I thought I already hold up? I think I got another chart already that got my levels on it because this one don't have all my levels on it. Let me find it as I thought I had. a chart already that I leveled up. I could have sworn I did it already. I could have sworn I did it. Um, Hold on one second. I got so many instances of trading view that it be all over the place. Some of them be here, some of them be other places, and um, I gotta find, where is it? Is it that one? Um, yeah, I know I got another one. Let me just pull out. I'm just gonna pull the chart back down here. I think I got it on the other side though. But hold on. I think hold on. It's over here. Maybe it's this one. Hmm. Yeah, I put the 7 9 on there, but I'll just use the other one. I'll use the other one. Just add to it. And yeah, this is cool. This one is cool. Meta is here, but yeah, so for now, because I don't want to go any higher than 800 for now. I don't want to go any higher than 800 for now. We're just gonna play for what Meta gives us for now. Cool. So yeah, so for Meta over the 780, let's say over 780, excuse me, over 781. Sorry. Damn, Meta did go to 790 up. It did hit my other target on Friday. It did. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna say over 791. My first target on Meta is gonna be that 796.13. Or just the all-time high. Or is that the all-time high? Seven, yeah, that's the all-time high right there. That 796.25, whatever. So yeah, so over 791, we're gonna hit the first target gonna be that 796. We just call it 796 because it's just right there. 796, and then 800 is in play from there. And from 800, then we got 810. But yeah, so to the downside, if under 769, my first target on Meta is going to be yeah, I'll say under 769. First target 765.56. Then we got um 758. Then but yeah, I feel like if it comes down there, if it loses, so because once we get down there, I feel like if we once we lose that level, then that yeah, 758, and then 748, that would be another level. But yeah, we'll just see how that plays out. But it's been pretty good at that around that 765 area. So I feel like as even if it was to come down, and if it was to bounce right there, that would be a good entry point to buy calls off of that bounce, a strong bounce off of that 765 50 area down here. That would be a good place for a retest if it would, for to buy. If it's like someone who wants to get meta calls or something, and if it pulls back or something, that would be a good place to buy off of, to me, in my opinion. But it may sustain. It could sustain that the 770, it's 775. Those areas. So we just see how it plays out. But yeah, so it looks like it's setting up for that 800 move, and it's $10, got $10 away from there on Friday. So that's just market. It's like I said, everything, the whole market is constricted during quad witching or whatever. They pen in the prices, so they kind of the stocks be free that right after quad witching. So we'll see how things move around. Given no other news or something comes out, meaning the overall market. So yeah, but yeah, so that's Meta. But let's just go into the economic data really quickly. We got a shitload full of Fed speakers, man. They are out. They were silent. They were silent. They all have a lot to say. We want to hear because think about it. This and they sending Powell out there again on Tuesday. But look, this is the thing right here. Before I go into the Fed speakers, just think about how important this is. They just had the dot plot just came out last week with with during FOMC the Fed decision. We got our first rate cut in a while, in a few years, right? So that it seems like Powell only did because there was pressure from the Trump administration and Trump himself to do so. Because think about it. Powell said he was making, I don't know, it was different things that he was saying in the during the, that kind of, they didn't really want to cut rates. It didn't seem like they wanted to cut rates. And the minute's gonna come out in a few weeks, but the minutes from the meeting, but it just didn't seem like they really wanted to do it. And it does sound like we may get more rate cuts. That's what it sounded like. Well, Powell. That's why the market kind of moved the way it did. The next day, it kind of seemed it was a dovish. He was seemed a little dovish. So I mean, I guess, but I felt like he was forced. His hand was forced because this is what I'm saying. They're still going to continue to reduce. They're going to continue to reduce their balance sheet, but they're cutting rates. Like, okay. And but yeah, so we're gonna get a lot. I'm saying all of this to say it's a lot of uncertainty that's in the market. Now we're gonna get to hear from these Fed speakers, so the ones that voted, and what they have to say about going forward and why they wrote it the way that they voted. And like I said, I'm not gonna go through every last one of these because it's a lot of them. But I know we have a few one people on here that are outspoken that we probably need to pay attention to. And off the top, I see we got Bostic on there Tuesday at 10 a.m. We got Powell Tuesday at 12:35 p.m. I don't I'm gonna have to look and see what that is, why they sending Powell out there. We got Daly. She's very outspoken. That's after the market close on Wednesday. Goolsby Thursday at 8:20 a.m. We got Bowman on there a few times, but yeah. So we have Daily. They got her again Thursday at 3:30 p.m. And so yeah, we got a lot of Fed speakers on here, but some of the ones that are more um, causing more volatility and stuff in the market, they are ones that I kind of like that I know of that cause a lot of volatility. I spoke on those. Uh, Economic data this week. We have services PMI Tuesday, manufacturing PMI. We have new home sales Wednesday. A GDP. Okay, so it's just like these months just been flying by. We're back to GDP already again. Okay, Thursday GDP. We got jobless claims, and we have I mean, real quick on jobless claims. So that's last week, right? Jobless claims were the lowest they've been in a while. They came in light, so okay. All right. So yeah, that's something right there too. But then we got durable goods orders Thursday. We have existing home sales Thursday. Then we got PCE data on Friday. So PCE data Friday and consumer sentiment Friday. So yeah, so just a little key that sometimes when we got the consumer sentiment that comes out, like there are times where the market is doing like you can be in a trade and you have to pay attention to consumer sentiment still, because it comes out at 10 a.m. and sometimes it throws things off. Depending, it can cause a continuation if the news is if the if it's in conjunction with the news is in conjunction with what's going on in the market. Saying got some confluence, cause a bullish catalyst or something. But if it goes against it, sometimes it slows things down and it causes a little volatility. So just keep whenever data comes out at 10 a.m., it's just good to keep an eye out for it and be, you know, ready for it. So yeah, there's that. Let me just go back to charts. Go back to charts. One sec. I said, I said, this meeting is gonna be 30 minutes today. That's what I said. I said it was gonna be a 30-minute meeting. It's all good. We ain't had a meeting in a few weeks. I'm glad to have a meeting, but yeah, it's all good. And yeah, so we just covered Meta. I have a few stocks that are I'm gonna cover. And I got, like I said, I got all of the stocks that I'm planning on covering. We locked in already. So we're locked in. All right. Damn, I went to the wrong one. Well, yeah, I'm just gonna shout out to App Lovin. They're getting added to the S&P 500 on Monday, and along with a few other stocks. So that's why it's been running for the past few weeks. And and we got another breakout on Friday. So it's just hitting, it's breaking these all-time highs, and it's just going. It's a scary thing how it's going. Now, this is my thing here. There are a lot of times when stocks get added to the S&P 500, and then after they get added, the event is, it's a, I'm not, it's not always a sell the news event. Some people didn't even know that it was being added, but like it's going, once it's added, now it's a part of the S&P 500 now. So we're going to see how much weight it has in the S&P 500, right? And because this is a pretty volatile stock, so to add this to the S&P 500, this stock, let's see what it does, and we'll see how, what type of impact it has and where they, you know what I'm saying. So we'll just see how it dictate price action in the overall market. So yeah, but yeah, this thing can continue to move, and yeah, it has a lot of room. So this is what I'll say for it. I'm trying to put some levels on this chart too, really quickly, because I didn't mean to bring it up yet, but since I brought it up, I'm just gonna go ahead and cover it, get it out of the way for now, just for now. And again, when you're in price discovery, aren't really a lot of levels here yet, so I'm not gonna put too many on here, but I'm just covering a few areas that will likely probably get hit if we do get some sort of a pullback or something on this stock because of, they now that it's added, we'll see what happens. We'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, so just really quickly, yeah, it's been pushing. It's been pushing. So over that 650.06, the next target would be 660. Um, the if it was to lose the 617, that's a crazy move that it made last week, just that big range that it made under 617.56. My first target on this would be um 606.60, and then we got another move down there to 592.58 and so on. But yeah, keep this one on watch. It could continue to move out, like, again, since this candle was so um it's just like it's just such a large candle. I'm just gonna break this down a little bit so you guys can see, the price action on Fridays. Just do some surgery on that candle, go to the session hourly, just to show y'all how it was just moving that whole week. So yeah, it's back to doing what it does. Mm, Stock APP. I'm gonna go ahead and cover Hood because Hood is being added to the S&P 500 on Monday as well. My bad. Meant to go way down. I'm thinking I'm on a session and something, and I'm actually another stock at all-time highs. I do not like stocks at all-time highs. But hey, we're in a bullish market right now, so stocks make all-time highs, right? That's what they do. Stocks make all-time highs. I'm gonna start respecting this stock a lot more because I didn't really have as much respect for this stock as I probably should have, and they've been making some big moves lately, so. Yeah, being added to the S&P 500 is a big deal, and we may get some things. The stock may make some nice moves off of it. So we will. Let's just see how things play out with that. But for now, like I said, it's at all-time highs. So we're gonna make a few. We're gonna see what happens with this one. I ain't gonna put too many levels up here because what I'll do is if it end up taking out the all-time high or whatever, then we could go from there, right? But in the meantime, I'm just gonna like leave it how it is. But yeah, over 25.18. Look for a move to like 27, 27.5, and probably so on higher. If it loses that 121, look for a now a few gap fills that may get it's a few gaps that may get filled, and it could sometimes gaps get filled and stocks bounce. It's bounce, so you can just keep that in mind too. But I'm not gonna mark them as levels. That's just something that could happen, and I'll see how price action behaves around that area, and then I'll go back and do that. But right now, under 121, I'm looking for a move down to like that 118, 117, 90 area. So I'm just gonna call it 117.93 or something like that. We'll see, and go from there on the stock. Because again, once these stocks get added, sometimes they drop after they get added. And so that's just something that you want to keep an eye on, because it can definitely be these are two stocks, and it's good that I covered them early because these are going to be two big stocks that can make them. We want a catalyst, we want a reason for a stock to move. So yeah, the stock I was going to cover first was Apple, and I end up hitting APP. APP, and I'm gonna tell y'all something. I know we talked a lot, but APP and a few other stocks were stocks that I definitely had on my radar, to trade with the team last week. But we got stuck in some trades that we weren't cutting. You know what I'm saying? Like I can see if something when a trade breaks structure or whatever, and we cut it, now I'm freed up to move on to something else. But when we're in existing trades, we have to, be cool. I was cool with doing that, calling the meta put was a no brainer. We were in meta, and I'm like, okay, let me absorb this cost really quickly and do that, because like I said, we keep in score. But that was one of some stocks. Apple was another one that, was on my radar because I knew the iPhone was coming out and it was going to be cause a big move in the stock. So yeah, but it is what it is. But just having some restraint is good. It's a good thing, and it definitely pays off in the long run when when you have some restraint and stuff like that. There's some money, but yeah, it's cool. But yeah, so Apple has room though. This is the thing about Apple. I like the setup on the stock. It's making a move. This channel is going up. Let me just show y'all the channel really quickly. And so we got some price. The price has been moving, and it's been doing pretty good in this area. So let's just see if we can break out of it this time though. So we got um we got close to the top of this range here. So I'll say over that over that I'm gonna say over 246.56. So over 246.56, my first target would be 249.92. That's essentially 250. Then we got 252.42 and so on. Now, if we lose, that's a big move down. If we lose that 240.21, then my first target would be 239.28. And I'm gonna, no, that's good. That's good. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna put another level in here though. And I don't think I'm gonna put another level in there because Apple can be a little, yeah, I'll put another level in there because that's quite a fall for Apple. Put another level there. So yeah, we got that 239.28, then we got 236 67. But yeah, I like the price action on Apple. Look at the weekly chart. Like I said, it has some room. It has some room, and I like that reversal pattern, that nice 222 reversal on the weekly. It finished just up here. Let's break through there, and that stock is probably going to take out the high, the all-time high, if it breaks through there. Damn, when the last time Apple hit all-time high was in December of last year. So yeah, nice setup on Apple. Keep it on watch. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Coming for the all-time high again. Let me zoom out for a second before I go here. Palo Alto. Shout out to Palo Alto. Palo Alto's been moving, man. But look at this. Look at this. I wanted to show you the weekly for a reason. Look at this range here on this stock. So yeah, but if we look at most recently on the weekly, it's been having a little trouble here. But I like when a stock breaks through because like look at this level here, it broke through. It broke through here. And then we had some closes there before, but we can be I can be very technical and move it up a little bit maybe, but this thing still closed really strong here on Friday or whatever. Palo Alto here after I mean sorry on the for the weekly, yeah, on Friday. Nice close, highest close ever on the stock. So nice move on it. Looks great. Get you out of here. I know that was probably a bull flag or something on a lower time frame. But yeah, that's a weekly chart. Wanted to show y'all that before I did anything. Now, you know how I feel about stuff like this, man. When you see these types of moves, I'm like, that's a rising wedge. Rising wedge is like a bearish pattern at time, that's if price was to break out of the wedge and to the downside, it falls a big fall down if it does that. But it's been doing pretty good and it's in the range and it's been moving up. Uh, Closing gaps and just running, came back down, retested this area and took off. So a retest of this area would not be bad for Palo Alto, right? So, but like I said, I like the stock. I feel like a stock like this, again, it can make really big moves when it breaks out. So just seeing it at these levels and making that highest close that it's uh where are we, yeah, that week, the weekly chart, where's that weekly at again, hold on. That just makes things a lot clearer just to show you the weekly again, because I was looking at it like, hold up, did it do that before? Like, where did this come from? Like, hold on. Oh yeah, I said weekly. Yeah, I'm like, so hold up, that ain't the highest close ever, but that was the highest weekly close ever. Makes sense. Okay, gotcha. Good. Yeah, my bad. I just had to, I'm like, hold up. I had to make sure that I was, you know what I'm saying, right? When I'm like, hold up, how did that candle do that? But where am I getting that? Like, you just had to make sure that the levels were right. Stim me out for a second. But yeah, so just the stock, like I said, is at all-time highs. Was getting close to all-time highs again. So, my first target on that is going to be the all-time high. So, and what is that? That's it's a 210.39. Yeah. So over that 209.02, that 210.39 will be the first target on Palo Alto, and from there it can make some moves. I feel like it can like over 210, then we can probably I like we got I'm gonna put that 215 up there, but that's not the I don't want to go straight to 215, but I feel like we take out the all-time high. I think it's gonna make a move. But yeah, I'm gonna put that all-time high up here first. And remember it's 239 is the all-time high. Feel like we can make a move. So break out of that. If we break over the all-time high and we stabilize over the all-time high, as new support, then we can get up there to that 215 on there. Now, if we lose that 205.52, look for a retest of 202. There's a few gap fills down there. That 202.57. And and then we can possibly likely it'll probably bounce off of that. And as long as it holds this level here, I mean hold this uptrend, it's fine. But if it breaks the uptrend, it can make a big move down because that's how rising wedges play out. If it if it breaks out of this rising wedge, you know, then it could come down, make a nice move down. So we'll see what happens. It's setting up nicely. It's been moving and just need to be on watch. FedEx. So we gotta talk about this, man. FedEx finished on Friday. Although it went up and rejected the 200 EMA, finished with a lot of volume. We got a nice 212 or 312 reversal. Oh, is that yeah, 312 reversal with the candle confirmation outside of this wedge. And it's been fighting, it's been having trouble getting out of this wedge for a while. So, we got a little momentum in this too. So, this could make a nice move. Um, it can make a nice move, setting up nicely to make a nice move. So I'll say it's a few levels that this can actually hit. I got some bigger levels set up on the chart, but there are some, I think that's fair. I think that's actually fair. I don't think nah, that's good. That's good. I don't need to put no other levels in there. I don't need to do that. Yeah, so over 235.32. My first target would be 241.35, then 244.44, 248.60, and so on. That's a wedge. That'll be a wedge breakout after it's been coiling for a long time. So yeah, bullish. It looks great. To the downside, if it loses 225.24, my first target on this would be 221.90. 221.93. Then we got 218.41, 215.72, and so on. Here's the weekly chart. Looks good. Nice move. We can make a nice move on that. It's been coiling for a little while. There we go. Core weave. Core weave. This was a request. So I'm doing this one. I like the chart on this. I like the move. We already have it charted, so I had to chart it. That's great. Levels are intact already for this one. So over the that 129.39. My first target on this would be 133.67. Then we got a gap there. What is that gap? What is that? Let me change the setting on this. Yeah, so that level, that is 135.82. So 135.82, that's the gap fill area there. So I'll keep that on watch also, as a possible move for the stock as well. If because if it, the volume was pretty good on it on Friday. It was a pretty good volume on it Friday, and so to the downside, if it loses that 122, now let me mark that up a little bit. There we go. It lose that 122. The first target would be 119.65. Excuse me. Then we got 114.29 and so on. But I like the setup on this. Chart looks good. Chart looks good. I like the finish on the weekly. Nice nice solid move on it. That's a bullish flag too on the weekly chart. I like a nice bullish flag. So let's break out of this flag here. Let's get out of this wedge. You know what I'm saying? You guys, do you feel me? Do you feel me? Man, so it's a nice chart. It looks good. And a nice bull flag for a breakout. If this thing goes, that'll be a really good move on the stock. You can see it here too. If I was to, go here. But, I always say when in doubt, zoom out. And then when I look at the weekly chart, I mean the daily chart, okay, we got a breakout with a candle confirmation here already. You know what I'm saying? So we already got the breakout here on the daily here. So that's looking pretty good right there. Looking pretty good. Yeah, so keep this one on watch. Shout out to Jake for bringing that to our attention. All right. Where we at? Oracle, Oracle, Oracle. Shout out to Oracle. Oracle don't owe us nothing, man. We made money on the calls. And then if you were on that stream that morning, we already discussed those puts, man, before I alerted puts. And then, those things it came down printed. It's holding right here. So, we were at all-time highs. So it came back down here and it's just creating a new range here for the stock. So, we're gonna let we got a new area here to keep an eye on. Then that news with Meta came out also. So yeah, we're gonna keep an eye on this one. Nice 222 reversal here, still holding the uptrend. Still, I'm not the uptrend. It's still holding that part, most of the earnings gap. So let's keep an eye on it. But to the upside, if it was to clear, if it over 311.11, we got 312.71, 319.68, and so on. And that'd be a nice bullish move to the upside, break out of a wedge and to the upside. Now, if we lose that 297.32, we got 292 30 292.33. Now, so like I said, if it holds that, then that's fine. If it loses that with volume, then we probably come all the way down here and to this level here. And then if it doesn't bounce there, then we'll fill the earnings gap. So just keep it on watch. I like the setup on it. We'll see with that partnership with Meta, that deal yields for the stock. There you go. Good old Tesla. Good old Tesla. Man, Tesla has had a great month. Has a great month. Had a great month. And let me just zoom out for a second on this chart. Nice close on the weekly. Nice finish with the hammer. Okay, I like that. I like that. I just wanted to zoom out on this real quick. See what we got going on up here. Okay, there's a gap there too. Up there on Tesla. Looking it up too. Let's get this marked out. We got another one up there. Yeah, Tesla has been pushing, man. This thing has just been it's been gone. It's been going. Just wanted to kind of mark some of those levels up. Right, so for that same thing for this one. We like Tesla around here.
Yes, we do. I'm doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, Tesla been doing what need to be done. So it finished inside on Friday. Still bull flagging, so another it's consolidating. Yeah, so over over 429.42. First target on this one be 434.47 and so on. We got it's a few places that it could possibly go, but if it's a bull flag breakout, I won't be playing for one day. So if it break over that level, we're gonna make a nice move on this thing. So let it cook, let Tesla cook. I mean, there are other we could put some smaller levels in there, but I'm just looking for the first level right now and see if we can get some stabilization over there. Then we can kind of cook from there. But if the bull flag breakout, I'm looking for a move up up over 450. So if we lose 421.72, uh, yeah. So if we lose that, we got So, instead of that, yeah, if we lose that, I'm gonna say if we lose that 419.73, if we lose that 419.73, you know, uh, we can make a move down to 415, but then I still think we make the big move. If we break down that low, then we got a bigger move down there at down to 401.88. But I'm gonna put another level in here because I think Tesla will probably find a way to bounce somewhere up in here. So put, yeah, the 410 is perfect in there. That's cool. Another area right there. Get some little support that has been building right there anyway. So we want to just leave it like put that there. Put that 410. So under 419.73, then we got 410 and then the 401.88. And then we got a gap fill. So, but let's just see what Tesla does up here. The stock is volatile, and if Elon is cooking, then the stock is moving. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It looked like it's been making that move and it's been doing what it needed to do because it's been in consolidation for a while. Look how oh, shit. I mean do that. This wedge break here, it just took it that flag breakout. It took it up and it's moving. Yeah, so let Tesla cook, man. Looks good. Looks good. Looks great. Looks great. Go back to. So, I posted this chart last week. Um, one day last week I posted it when it right here when it just made this move here. It was yeah, it was whenever I posted it was Tuesday. And you see what happened since then. It gapped up again and it's been making a move. So we got a what is that? A 2-1 a 2-1-2 reversal. It's looking good right now. It's been making a nice move. Uh, and China stock's been moving anyway. They've been on the move. So over 138.18. First target on this one would be 143.10 and so on. If we lose that 134.86, 130.44 would be our first target on that one. So let's just keep an eye on it. It's been pushing. It's been pushing. So I'm gonna revisit the K Web. I'm gonna revisit the K Web. This is a Chinese the ETF that tracks the Chinese stocks. When the last time I told y'all to keep an eye on K Web and we needed to watch it, it was right here. And look what it's done since. It's breaking out. It's been breaking out and it's been moving. So I just say, like I said, keep an eye on K Web, man, because it's ETF that tracks the Chinese stocks and it's been doing pretty good. The China ETF internet stocks. So yeah, finished with a bearish engulfing on Friday, but hey, that just one level of confluence. I'm just gonna mark this gap fill for a second. But yeah, I say keep it on watch, man, because it's been breaking and it's been going over 42.14. First target on this it will be that 42.52 level. Or I'll just say yeah 42.67, and a break over there kind of takes us a lot higher to the downside. If it was to lose that 41.69 first target on there, that would be that gap fill down there near 41, what is that, 41 56. And then we got 4105, I'm sorry, 4090, my bad, on there. So just keep it. It's a slow moving ETF, right? But it's been making moves. Some bets are just safe, and just keep it that way. Second, CrowdStrike. So CrowdStrike got the breakout, really nice move. We did Palantir. I'm sorry, Palo Alto. My bad. So now we got another stock in the same sector. So cyber security stocks, right? So I like this. I like this move when it looked like it went the all-time high again up there near the all-time high. And so over 507.20, I'm looking for a move to 515. 15. Then we got the all-time high up there at 517.98. Now, if we lose that 495.81, look for a move down to or retest of 486.72. Yeah, but I like the way it looks. It's nice, looking good right now. Hit snow also. I said show. What is show? Damn. Whatever it is, it ran. I didn't mean to type this in. Mineral stock. To do snow since I'm covering this sector. Yeah, snow looks good too. Snow looks great. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. On snow. I like when I see stocks breaking levels that it hasn't been at in a while. And so we got snow up here. Yeah, shout out to snow. Let me zoom out for a sec. That's a lot of room to make up. Yeah, I like the close on it too on Friday. Nice reversal. A that was a double inside, and then so that was a 1-1-3, or is that a two? That's a two. That's a two. 1-1-2. Yeah. Yep. Cool. Yeah, still looks good. Finish right there at this level, and yeah, I like it. I like it. So I'll say, oh, that was a big move here. But again, the look like all of those stocks when that in that sector were moving, and that's the reason why we got that move on it. But yeah, so over 231 what is that, 231.94. uh yeah, let's just say over 231.94. um Looking for a move to let's hit that 250, and then 261 61. That would be the moves on there, because the 52-week high on there is that 249.99. So I'm gonna say 250 on there. All right. Under 214.30. Look for a retest of 209.36 and so on. But yeah, keep this one on watch, man. I like the move on it thus far. I like the it's been running since last month. So let's just keep it on watch. It's been making these nice moves, these nice strides. So let's just keep it on watch. Keep it on watch. MU because Daquan asked for it, and it's at all time highs. And this is what I'm gonna say about it. Shout out to you, Big Mike. I see you on here. So yeah, MU has been running. This is a semiconductor stock. This is the weekly chart on it. They also report earnings this week. I'm pretty sure that's why Daquan asked me to cover it. But maybe not. But it has been running. I mean, it probably got your attention because it looked nice. But yeah, so I mean, they report earnings this week also. So there is a catalyst. So when you see stocks that it's a catalyst for it to run, I'll say that. And yeah, so we're just like, what I'll say is, trading a stock that has earnings this week, just know that the options premiums are going to be inflated. So they're going to be more expensive than they typically would be. And so just be careful with that. And so but yeah, so right now for this stock, I'll say over 163.70, look for a retest of 170.45. If it loses that 159.38, look for a retest of what I say, 159.38. If it loses that, look for a retest of 153.74. and and then we could possibly move lower, but we'll cross that bridge. We got a gap fill down here also. But now let me just I'm gonna talk about it just on a scale of just just looking at the stock in general, right? Because the overall the stock looks good, man. It I like the damn, that was a big breakout on this stock here. But that was like a week ago. But yeah, all of the when the semiconductor stock started running. Um, but yeah, so that was a yeah, I like the stock. It has room to come down there and retest, but it did finish with a hammer. It's a doji up there, but it did finish with a hammer. So what I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna say this. This where is it? Where the price is? 'Cause, like, again, who knows what price is gonna be? Um, when they report. Nobody knows, right? So I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna mark some levels or some areas to watch, maybe. So I'm just basing that on where price is right now. So it's not, where where price is right now. Shit, wrong one. Did it again. Yeah, so based on where price is right now, I'll mark it up here and I'll put a and this gap fill area is a good place probably, just giving y'all a little range on it, So the range of area to watch based on if they report it tomorrow. They don't report until Tuesday. But I'm saying, no, I'm basing that price action. I'm breaking it off the what we have right now. And that's just what I'm basing it off of. But yeah, so keep the stock on watch, I like the structure on it. It looks good. And let me just show y'all something else too, just because it's while we're here. Since just show you what's going. So it's in a range. It's in a little channel, and it's at the top of this channel now. So it could break out and go higher, or it could come down. This market has been interesting lately. So just have to wait and see what happens. Because just because a stock is at all-time highs, it doesn't mean that they have to miss. Just because a stock is selling off into a print doesn't mean that it has to run. We've seen a lot of crazy things happen this week. I mean, these last several weeks, right? So I'm just saying, like, if you ask me about it, I'm telling you about it, and just something to keep an eye on. Just in terms of even if you like the day after the print or whatever, let's see where, let's say if it traded in the middle or something like that, and it was just like up in this range or something, then now you got an idea of where it could likely go. If so just keep it on watch, and then we'll just have to cross that 180 when we get there if it goes to the upside. So, but yeah, nobody knows where price is going to end and where it's going to go tomorrow and from there. But yeah, I'm gonna hit one more stock because we've been on here for a while. And it's so crazy that how this ended up playing out, right? Because we've been talking about this wedge for a while and this bullish flag and how what happens. And remember, a few times it came up here to the top of this range, this wedge, and it did not break out. So we got the candle. Once we got the candle confirmation here, it's been running, right? So candle confirmation got a few retests. This is how our bullish flags play out. But the thing is, like, this one of our stocks that we keep an eye on a lot. So, um, you know, there'd be certain stocks. But yeah, I'm tunnel vision, man. Once I get in I'm watching one stock, I just try to keep an eye on what I'm looking at and not look at other stocks. But this is nice, nice move on Goldman Sachs here. So hold on. Banks be making them all-time highs, man. Banks be crushing them all-time highs. And yeah, so this is another one, just another stock to keep on watch, man. It's a pretty big company, big stock, it's a bank, one of the investment bank. And so yeah, I say keep Goldman on watch because we can make some moves on this thing, man. It moves pretty um it makes pretty big moves. The stock does. Yeah, so here it is for Goldman Sachs, man. Over that 109.66. I'm looking for a move to one the I'm sorry, the over 809.66, looking for a move to 815. If we were to lose that 797.37, look for a retest of that at 793.64 and possibly lower. We got a few places where a price could actually go on this stock if it was to make a move down. But because it's been running up for a while, but now we got this area. This is where it's been playing in this range now. But that flag isn't done. It has some room to continue going higher. So keep it on watch. Yeah, but yeah, that's Goldman Sachs, man. And yeah, but thank y'all for hanging out for a while. Sorry to keep y'all on here for several hours, but sometimes it's like that, man.
Thank you. We
All right.
appreciate your time.
All right, you too. Goodbye.